Hey, it's Mrs. Conway. So now that you've practiced doing some basic substitution where you're just putting two equations together, we're going to do some slightly more complicated substitution where you're putting two equations together, but first you have to do some manipulations, or maybe you're actually substituting equations in for a whole letter instead. So substitution method is literally what it sounds like. It's when you substitute one equation in for another. So you replace one variable with an equivalent expression. All right, so what that's going to look like is first you're going to have to solve one equation for x or solve one for y. Then you're going to substitute or replace this expression into the other equation and solve for the variable. And when you do this, what should happen is now you only have one variable. Then plug your answer into the revised equation from step 1 and solve for the other variable or evaluate. So this first kind is what we've been doing, but I want you to rethink. So I originally introduced this as the transitive property of equality. So you're replacing, I want you to think of it as y equals 4x minus 1, and then we're replacing the first y with 2x minus 5. So it's going where this first y is, instead of just thinking of them as putting them together. So I'm going to have 2x minus 5 equals 4x minus 1. Okay, now hit pause, finish this by yourself. Okay, hopefully what you got is minus 4x on both sides. Those cancel, that's negative 2x minus 5 equals negative 1. Add 5 to both sides. Negative 2x equals 4. Now I have to divide both sides by negative 2, so you should get x equals negative 2. Now, so that was step 1 was already done, right? It was already solved. Step 2, we substituted and solved. Step 3, I'm going to plug negative 2 in for x in the first equation. So I'm going to do y equals 4 times negative 2 minus 1, which is going to give me y equals negative 2 minus 1. Y equals negative 4 times negative 2 would be negative 8. Okay, so now I'm just going to check it in the other equation to be sure I did it right. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. So my final answer is negative 2. So let's look at question 2. Question 2, y equals 6x. It's already solved for y, so we can skip step 1. Step 1 was already done. Okay, so we're going to go straight to step 2. We're going to substitute 6x into the second equation for x. So I'm going to put 2, and then I'm going to put parentheses, and then I'm going to put 6x. No, 6x. Okay, so already I'm off track here because that's an x. That's a y. So I should be substituting 6x in for y, not for x. So it's going to be 2x plus 3 parentheses 6x. There we go. So notice I now only have x's in my equation. There are no y's. So now I can solve for x. I have 2x plus 18x, because 3 times 6 is 18, equals negative 20. Again, this is the thing where you do the same thing to both sides. Those are like terms, actually, so I'm going to put them together. That's 20x equals negative 20. So now I just have to divide by 20 on both sides. So I get x equals negative 1. Now I'm going to take that negative 1. I'm going to plug it in for the first equation because it's already solved for y, so it's easier. So I can put y would equal 6 times negative 1. That step. Y equals 6 times negative 1. Y. Now, just to check, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Plus 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. So negative 2 plus negative 18 is negative 20. So my solution is negative 1. Okay, so that's more of what substitution is going to look like today. Let's look at this this next one. Look, it's already solved for y. So if you think you get what to do, do it. But I'm going to go over this one because, again, we're plugging this x plus 9 is going to go in for y. Step 1's already done. It's already been, you've already got this equation solved for y. but I'm going to replace my y in the second equation. So I have 3x plus 8, and then where the y is, I'm going to put parentheses, and I'm going to put x plus 9. This is one of those situations where the parentheses are really important. You have to put the parentheses. In fact, don't forget, because you'll get it wrong if you don't put the parentheses in there. Because now we have to do distributive property, which hopefully you remember. So you have 3x plus 8x plus 72 equals negative 5. Again, doing the thing where I do same thing to both sides. Collect like terms. 11x plus 72. Excuse me, sorry. Equals negative 5. Subtract 72 on both sides. So I have 11x equals negative 77 on both sides. X equals negative 7. So now I can plug negative 7 in for x over here in my first equation. Y equals negative 7 plus 9. Y equals 2. And just to check, 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Plus 8 times 2 is 16. And negative 21 plus 16 is in fact negative 5. So it checks out. So my final answer is negative 7, 2, because your answer still is where the two lines cross. We're just not actually graphing them to find our answer. All right, maybe you're ready to give 4 a shot. Notice it's solved for x. Don't make the mistake I almost made in the second one. You're going to plug this in. I'm going to kind of circle this in pink because our first step's already done for us. But the first step's already done for us. So you're going to plug that in for x. Right, hopefully you've had a chance to try that one. So what you should do is you should start by writing the second equation, 2, but then you're going to put, instead of x, you're going to put parentheses 4y plus minus 6y. Don't forget that part. Don't forget to finish writing this equation before you put equals 12. Okay, so now I have an equation to solve. So I'm going to start by distributing. So that's going to be 8y plus 14 minus 6y equals 12. Like terms, 8y and negative 6y gives me 2y plus 14 equals 12. Got to get rid of this 14, subtract 14 on both sides. 2y equals negative 2. Divide by 2 on both sides. Y equals negative 1. So I found y first this time instead of x. That was the main difference. So now I'm going to take my first equation, because it's already solved for x. X equals 4, and then instead of y, I'm going to put negative 1 times negative 1 plus 7. So x equals negative 4 plus 7, which is, check my answer, 2 times 3 is 6 minus 6 times negative 1. It's actually going to be plus 6 is 12. So my answer is 3. So that's how you do these when they're already solved for x. Now, there are going to be some on level 3 of delta, I believe, where you have to solve for x on at least one equation. So let's just do the one on the back of your worksheet. So if you're looking at the worksheet, you'll have to flip it over to the back really quick. And I'm just going to do number 5 with you, just to be sure you can do that type of substitution. And then what I'll do is I'm going to put the solutions in for the rest here. And if you want to do them, you can. If you don't, it's extra credit. But then you can check your work. So, but I won't make the video through that. I'll just hit pause, do them all, and then hit play. So it'll just be a picture of them. So in this situation, see, nothing's solved for y, but I'm going to notice y is already by itself here. So I'm going to take this equation over here. I'm going to rewrite it 2x plus y equals negative 2. And I'm going to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. So y equals negative 2x minus 2. You should be pretty familiar with this because this is standard to slope-intercept form. We've practiced this a little. Remember, you can't combine those because aren't like terms. So now I have y by itself. So I'm going to take this equation and plug it in for y in the second equation. So I just had to add a step at the beginning. So now I'm going to take 5x plus 3y, but instead of y, I'm going to put negative 2x minus 2 equals negative 8. Distribute 5x minus 6 equals negative 8. Combine like terms. Negative 1x minus 6 equals negative 8. Add 6 to both sides to get rid of that minus 6. And x equals negative 2. Divide by negative 1 on both sides. So x positive 2. Now I'm going to come back to this equation that I solved for y. Y equals, and this is actually my third step, y equals negative 2 times 2 minus 2. So I'm taking this 2 and plugging it in for this x so that I can find that y equals, that's negative 4 minus 2, which is negative 6. And then just in case I made an arithmetic error, I'm going to come over here and check them both with the original equation. So I have 2 times 2 is 4, plus negative 6 is negative 2. So that works out. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 times negative 6 is negative 18, which is negative 8. So that checks out. So my final answer is 2, negative 6. All right, you should be ready to work on the Delta math now. If you want some extra credit, extra practice, you can go ahead and do numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I will hit pause here, do those problems, and then just show really quick the solutions so you can check your work if you would like. But I'm not going to go through them on the video because I don't want to make you guys have to watch that if you don't want to. So, good luck. All right, so hopefully you've had a chance to work out the rest of these or you're done. If you do decide to work them out, for 6, here's the work, and I got 2, 5 is my solution. For 7, it actually comes up no solution. What's going to happen is x and y will just like all cancel out, and it's not true. For 8, you should get 8, negative 2. For 9, you should actually get infinite solutions. Everything will cancel out, and you'll get like 0 equals 0. And then 10 is negative 2, 0, and 11 is negative 1, 5. So check your answers if you got those. See if you got them right, if you were going to do them. If you have questions about them. So get your Delta math done, and good luck.